Okay, everybody, I believe the live stream is either up or about to start up. So just want to introduce myself and the program really quickly. My name is Peter Jang. I am the Chicago lead instructor for this particular group of students. This is the second half of a particular cohort of 18 students. And there are going to be 9 students presenting their capstone presentation, or 8 students presenting their capstone presentations in this group. So I am an instructor and the Dean of Instruction at Actualize, which is a full stack coding bootcamp where we spend 5 weeks of pre-work, 12 weeks of a live class, learning how to do general programming, Ruby on Rails, Vue.js, back-end, front-end, a lot of technologies. And these are the capstone presentations of the students' final project. If you caught the first half of the stream, you know some of these logistics, but I do want to make mention again that this particular group was actually an in-person cohort in the Chicago campus, and we had to transition to the online format due to the global pandemic and the quarantine in Chicago. And I just want to say that everybody in this particular group did an amazing job with that transition and really made some amazing applications. So, you know, kudos to everybody here. So those of you who are watching on the live stream, you guys are in for a treat. See some really nice projects. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce our panelists who will be who are developers, and they will be asking each student questions and having a conversation with them after each presentation. So we'll start with our first panelist, Adam. If you can say a few words to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Adam. I am a full stack developer at Interworkings. I've been there for a little over a year and a half. I am a former Actualize student, graduated in 2017. And upon getting my first developer job, continued to stay with Actualize. I helped as a TA for a little over a year, helping Peter show the best things that I have learned along my routes to, you know, have fun with the students and make sure he was staying up with the times.
All right, thank you so much, Adam. Our next panelist is Emily. If you want to say a few words about yourself.
Hi, I'm Emily Ekdal. I'm a data engineer and data product manager at Otis. It's an ed tech company, and I also was a former graduate of Actualize in 2017, and Peter was my teacher. So it's a privilege to be back, and I'm excited to see these presentations.
Thank you so much, Emily. And last but certainly not least is the CEO of Actualize, who will also be a panelist, Jay, if you want to say a few words.
Yeah, I'm having deja vu here. I just wanted to say congratulations to all of you, the graduates. It's really incredible, as Peter mentioned, and I'll say the same line as last time, which is that the only thing harder than taking a coding bootcamp is taking a hard coding bootcamp during a pandemic. And the fact that you're able to transition in the way that you did and still pull through so wonderfully is really testament to your abilities and your persistence. And you really got a lot of credit for that. Again, just want to thank Peter, lead instructor, doing a masterful job with this cohort and with the transition specifically, and the TAs and the panelists, and for everyone who is currently watching.
All right, thank you so much, Jay. Yeah, so without further ado, let's go ahead and kick things off. In this group of students, it's going to be Ethan, Travell, Deanna, Paul, Yesenia, Stephen, Tom, Ernesto presenting. So we're going to go ahead and start it with Ethan, and followed by the first panelist, who will be Adam. So Ethan, if you can go ahead and unmute and share your screen.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Ethan, and my app is called GigSpace. So a quick background, I've been a musician my whole life. I've been in a variety of ensembles, acts, groups, bands, a spread of genres and instruments along the way. And I've just always loved making music and working with other artists, and especially above all else, playing live shows, or gigs, as you might call them. But something I've learned along the way, being an independent artist who's tried to make their way more from just kind of having fun with some friends into breaking into a live scene, is that it can be pretty difficult to connect with other bands, especially outside of the live performance space, and especially in our current day and time where there are no live gigs. But then on that flip side of that same coin is that it can also be hard to work your way into a live gig space without knowing other bands. And current social medias have, tried to create tools to solve this problem, but I just don't think they're quite as intuitive for artist to artist and peer to peer communication. So that's where GigSpace comes in. So as you come into the home page, of course, there's a similar spiel. If you go to learn more, it'll take you straight to the about page. So I don't want to rehash that here. But I'll go ahead and give you a sample of what it's like as a user. So pretty much anyone can sign up, although it makes more sense if you are an artist. So I'll go ahead and take you into my profile. So that way you can get a good taste of how this works. So upon signing in, you'll notice we've got some new tabs up at the top, but let's go ahead and start off. It looks like it recognizes me. I've signed in. I've got a profile here. So once I click on myself, I can go ahead and see, it's got my name, it's got a profile picture. I could go in and edit my email, password, profile picture, etc. But this is where it starts to get good, as we can see the artists that I've already listed on here. And these are real bands that I'm a part of. If I didn't have any listed, if I was a new user, I could go ahead and add a new artist as well. But I don't want to go ahead and get into all of that and make up some pretend band. So let's go ahead and see a real profile. So this is, again, a real band that I'm a part of. And you'll notice on our profile, we've got our band name, location, genre or genres, depending on band. We've got a little biography and members, which all of this info can be custom tailored and changed. They're just text boxes you can fill out. You could go on and elaborate full names, instruments, maybe members have changed throughout the years, etc. That's not quite true for my band. And then over here, I've got some iframes that allow you full access into Bandcamp pages as well. I've got headphones in so you won't hear it, but you can play music. You can, download people's music. Over here, you can embed your Spotify URLs as well. It'll handle anything from albums to playlists, which is great. And again, this plays, but you won't be able to hear it since I have headphones in. And it'll allow every user about 30 seconds, which is why I would probably encourage users to use their Bandcamp. You can see our photos as well, and then any social media links that are posted. And again, all of this can be altered by each artist. When you first sign up, this won't be pre-filled or anything. So you'd have to go in and add all of these in line by line. Maybe you want to change the photos you're showing, etc. So that's cool. That's one artist page, but that doesn't really allow for the networking that we want. So if you go into here, there'll be a whole feed of artists that have signed up. And again, these are mostly just all real local bands that I could try and connect with. And let's say I find one that seems interesting. That's a fun name. Let's see, they're in Chicago. That's cool. We could probably get a show together. I'm not seeing a whole lot of info, but they've got some music. I could check this out. Maybe they've got some social media over here. I could learn some more to see if I like their music as well. But they seem like nice enough guys, I guess. So maybe I'll reach out. And this is my solo project. I want to reach out and see if they're open to playing any shows this winter. Because, we're not planning on any shows this summer. That's just how it is. So I'll go ahead and send them that. But, I doubt they've responded. But maybe they're like a lot of other people and they're attached to their phone. So I'll come over here into our messaging tab. And again, I'm a part of two bands. So I'm going to want to specify that I'm looking through my messages as my solo project. And I was just talking to Harvey Dentures. So come over here. All right. I gave them a few seconds, but they haven't responded. So I guess I'm going to have to look into some other messages for now. So I'm remembering now, I was just sharing about Ocean Glass, but I was talking to someone to see if they wanted to play a show in a few months. They're called The Band. That's a good band name. Let's see. So I first reached out to them 3 days ago. And I still haven't gotten a definitive answer. So I can go ahead and ask them, are you in or out? And we'll wait. People take their time on these things, I guess. There's no notification button or anything. So I'll allow them a time to get back to me on this. So now that's nice. We can message, we can find other profiles, but what if we just kind of wanted to scream out into the void, share some updates, get opinions on things? We can go into a feed of posts. So, over here, we've got a band called Swatches. They want to see if anyone knows who books at Beat Kitchen. My band is looking for a music distributor. Got to get the music out there. Let's see, City Mouth for CD release show. Yeah, I want in. And I'm going to post that as my solo artist again, because I'm just trying to get out there. So I'll send that, and that's in my messages as well. But, I didn't want any likes or comments in this app, because I just feel like that becomes a popularity contest, and then people get a little competitive, and it kind of makes some bands seem bigger than others. So instead, this is just all about fine-tuning the networking between people and just genuine connection and kind of authentic growth based on content. So then once I've decided that I've done enough of this, I don't want to add a new post right now, but I could. So I'm just going to call it a day. I'll wait and maybe someone will get back to me later. So when I'm all done, I'll just log out and it'll take me right back to where I started. So thank you.
All right, awesome job, Ethan. Beautiful looking app. So let's open this up to our first panelist, who is Adam.
All right, Ethan, it looks like a really cool app. Like you put a lot of love and passion into it. I'm wondering, what was your favorite thing to do? What was your favorite part of this application?
My favorite part, I would probably say, is the messaging app portion of it, which was also the most time consuming. But I was very pleased with it once I got it all to line up and work together.
And what do you have in store for version 2?
Yeah, version 2, I would love to have notifications. It would be nice to know when there are new messages or people trying to reach out about posts. And then also I would love to maybe work this way into a mobile application.
Cool. And then I guess one more question is, you said you had the most fun doing the messaging part of it, the most time consuming part. What did you use for the messaging? What technology did you use for that one?
So all of the data was stored just in between a couple join tables. The messages rely on, you have to be a user to send one, and then you have to send it as an artist, and then that gets sent to another artist. So it's an assortment of join tables running on Rails, and then it just took a little bit of careful filtering with 3 layers of filtering in the JavaScript in Vue in order for me to clean that up and be able to sort my messages by whether they were sent or received by the current artist.
Cool. Well, it looks awesome. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Adam and Ethan. Great job. So let's go on to our next presenter, which will be Travell, and the next panelist to follow will be Emily. So Travell, go ahead and unmute yourself and share your screen.
All right, give me one moment. And there we go. All right, can y'all see that? Awesome. So let's start here. I'm a super collaborator. One of the things I love the most about being a software engineer is being able to just like create products, connect with users, and figure those things out in a larger collective. And I'm pretty good at that. However, I noticed that there's a consistent pattern where every team I've been on, we fail at tracking issues that come up. So we'll have like a great plan laid out, but when random variables or random sort of fixes need to go in play, we don't have the best tools for tracking those. And that's what I attempted to do with this app. It's called Element. So I'm just gonna walk through the user flow of like logging in, and I'm gonna log in as me. And what I did was I used this app to actually track me building out my capstone. So these are all issues that came up throughout the entire process. And I already see some funky stuff that I don't like. You can see the emergency tickets are capstone presentation today, capstone presentation today, capstone presentation today. Let's get rid of those because we're already at the capstone. But I do want to run through probably let's create a new ticket. Let's say Capstone is happening now, and I'm going to be the originator of this. And the issue is very apparent, like Capstone is in the now. The resolution is just to present. And I have a file button where I can add like any files I need to, but let's make this our new emergency. And in that, because Capstone is happening right now, I probably should come up with like some kind of speech I should be telling y'all. So I've been able to connect with the Google API where I could just start a speech. So this is going to be my Capstone speech. Hi, people of the internet. This is my first app. Perfect. All right, and let's go back. And you can definitely see that like I was able to use the Google API, create a speech. I have this new ticket where Capstone is happening now, and it used to be an emergency, but since I was able to create that Google Word doc, like doing my speech in the moment, I don't think it's that much of an emergency. Let's make that more of a, I don't know, a pending item that I can revisit. And that way I can always come back. Some of the things I want to talk about with this app, there are areas that I wanted to jump into. So my waiting tickets kind of explain that. If I had more time, I wanted to like explore GraphQL. So a different kind of model of like pulling data from the back end. I also wanted to research different UI problems that come up, because one of the dope things about this app is the color and the layout for me. But what I don't like is for teams that may have more than 5 or 6 or even 30 issues, it doesn't really cater well to their user flow. And in addition to that, I want to think through or work on instances, for example. So the same way you can be in Slack and you can manage sort of multiple channels, I would like for there to be a way for you to manage multiple projects or track multiple issues across different kinds of projects. Something else I plan to do with the UI was I model this as kind of a solution to all of those things, where you can, instead of deleting a ticket by clicking on it, you can sort of drag a ticket and it begins to delete, and you have a button that actually creates a new ticket. So that's what phase 2 is looking like for this app, but phase 1 I'm really happy with. So yeah.
All right, awesome job, Travell. Definitely a unique looking application. I love the fonts there. So it's got its own style. All right, let's open this up to our second panelist, Emily.
Thanks for sharing that, Travell. I really enjoyed your presentation. I'm curious, through what part of this process did you grow the most?
Front end, because I didn't grow up like drawing, even though I have a visual eye, and I'm a very ambitious sort of developer. So I was like, we learned Vue.js in the bootcamp. I'm gonna build in React, and I started to build this out in React and was in tutorial hell. So I like had to transition back to Vue.js to build this out. But then I realized that there were elements like color, like CSS grid, that I had to sort of quickly learn in order to implement what you see. So I think I grew more on the front end than I did the back end of this app.
That makes sense. Well, your hard work is evident. I'm curious if you could tell me about the Google integration, because you integrated with the Google API. What was that like?
Yeah, so I mean, I just was on GitHub, and I was also in Google API's documentation, just like browsing frantically how to get this working. And it really just came down to me having a moment, sitting down, looking at what other developers were doing on GitHub to integrate Google API versus like reading the documentation to get everything going. But not to trivialize it, like it's a lot of work that has went into like this bar. But I've essentially come to see these as like links. When I began to understand them as like links to my Google Drive or creating a new document, that made the process more easier for me.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then could you tell me, now that you've completed the project and you can look back and reflect, if there was anything that you would rework, what would that be and how would you do it?
Yeah, I think I would have stuck through with building this out in React, because I underestimated how quickly I'm able to learn things and how eager I am to see execution happens. That if I like followed through with my original plan to build the front end out in React, it could have happened.
All right. Well, React is a very exciting language, so lots to explore going forward.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Emily and Travell. Let's go ahead and let's go into our next student presenter and our next panelist, which is Deanna, and the next panelist will be Jay. So Deanna, if you can go ahead and share your screen and unmute yourself.
Okay. Hello, my name is Deanna. My app is called Code Bono, Spread the Wealth. And this is the app is a platform for developers to do pro bono work for the community. So the homepage is pretty simple. It has the homepage, a job section, a sign up section, and a login. So when you get here, you get to these bubbles. That this is a game that I kind of liked, and I thought I should put it here. So when you move your mouse towards the bubbles, they kind of spread around in a circular way, and you can't really touch them, right? So this is just your mouse is trying to catch these bubbles, but it's not happening. So anyway, so once you're done playing, so you come here looking for a job, to do some project, to do some good work. You play around a little, and then you go find a job, right? So I click on the job section here, and then we have, you see all the jobs available. There's a nonprofit here. There's a flower shop that needs some help with secure payment on their website. Also another job from the nonprofit, a coffee shop that needs help with an events page, and then some school, an elementary school in Albany Park that would like to have somebody teach coding to their kids. So let's check this one out, because it sounds nice to help some kids, right? So over here we see the entire ad. It shows the name of the organization, which is Albany Park, the date the job was created, the title of the job, and then the description of the job, and then a way to contact this organization. So you can either copy and paste this email, or you can use this platform here to send an email. So as a developer, you don't have to sign up on the website to be able to have access to all the jobs and submit whatever jobs you want to respond to. And if you are an organization and you would like to put a job on the website, you would have to sign up. So you go here, you put your name in, your email and your password, and once you click submit, you'll be taken to a login page. So I'm going to log in with an organization that's already in the system, not that one. And then once I'm in, I should be able to see my profile. Okay, and there we go. So the profile shows the name of the organization, which is Little Flower, our flower shop. We have 2 jobs here. And on the side here of the screen, you have an opportunity, you have the ability to delete the job. And also further down on the page, we can create a new job. So let's create a new job just to see how that works. And then we'll submit it and see what happens. Oh, and there's our new job. So our new job has been created. Let's see if this new job shows up on our jobs section. We go down here. Oh, there it is. So yeah, so the job was created. It shows up fine. We see the date, we see the contact info, and now I'm going to go back to my profile and try to delete this job and see if that works. So we got a new job here. We got the delete button. We're going to click on that and the job is gone. And we can check to see that the job is gone again in our job section. And indeed, the job is gone. So once you're happy with the way your job looks, or if you've deleted any, or if you've created any and you're done with working on your profile, you can just log out and go back to the home page where you can play a little more with these bubbles. So the whole pro bono idea is because I think this is a good opportunity for us as recent graduates to do some good work in the community and help on a little project or two, and then put it on your portfolio and use it as such. And at the same time, the organizations that are posting jobs here don't have the means to hire some huge firm with a bunch of developers to do this work. And these are small projects that can be done by somebody that has the knowledge that we do. So that's my app.
All right, thank you so much, Deanna. It's a nice, clean design. I like it a lot. All right, so let's open it up to questions with Jay.
Hey, Deanna, this is a fantastic app. Really, really cool. What feature are you the most proud of?
Well, I like the bubbles, but this was hard to do. So this is a D3 library. And initially, if I wanted to put this in the header, it was really easy to do and very straightforward. But I wanted to put it in the banner, and that's where I had problems with it. So I talked to Peter, and he had to help me out. So we decided, he said that the best way to do it would be to mount it, to do a mounted function. So that's what we did, and it's working the way I wanted to. So yeah, but in general, I tried a lot to figure out how to do it, and I wasn't able to. And then when Peter jumped in, he had the solution, so that was good.
So do you have the ability to like customize the colors and that kind of stuff? I
figured out how to, but I didn't really like the options of the other colors, because this gives you 3 colors. So if you add another one, 4, then it gives you, I think, purple. So it's like a range of colors that come with the D3. And I wasn't happy with purple and other colors in there. So yes, and if I actually specified yellow, blue, and red, the colors were just so wacky that it didn't look good. So
got it. This is a great idea and concept. Do you think you're gonna get a chance to make it live and put it out there?
I think it would be very useful, because there's not enough do-gooders in the world, and we could be those people that can help somebody with a small problem, and it would be very impactful, I think, that way.
For sure. This is a fantastic idea, fantastic execution. Really impressive, Deanna. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Deanna and Jay. Our next presenter is going to be Paul, and the next panelist will be Adam. So Paul, if you can go ahead and share your screen and unmute your audio.
Sound check. Cool. So, hello, fellow cohorts. So, my app has come from a very long hobby I've had. I've long been a fan of tabletop role-playing games and Dungeons and Dragons. It's been a nerdy pastime of mine for a very long time now. And Dungeons and Dragons in particular has been poking its head a little bit into the mainstream, and it's been becoming more and more popular, far cry from the 80s. And I see more of my friends trying to get in. And what I wanted to do was try to demystify making a D&D character. Because a D&D character, it's easy to get bogged down by the various tables or the stats that you're using to make a beginning character. What's more is I wanted to pare down what I was helping with to a very specific problem I've seen come up, especially with new players, is if you are making a D&D character that can cast magic, what does your spell selection do for your character? Because I've seen a lot of my friends who are just getting into the game pick a new character, pick some spells, and then they actually try to implement it in play, and then they were told politely is that actually it doesn't work like that. It doesn't do what you think it's going to do. So I try to make a simplified, streamlined character creator with a small wrinkle, with a statement of intent. So if we go here, we'll see mirror, 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 and then roll a new character. Again, it's simplified, so a lot of the stats we're kind of skipping over right now. Let's come up with a wizard name, Melvin, sure, Melvin the Wizard. Again, beginning character, level 1, we'll just start off with that. And then the 3 spellcasting classes with a short explanation of what they could possibly be. We've decided wizard, so this character has come into magic through study and hard work. Now the wrinkle is, and this is not anything reflected on any D&D character sheet, but it's something that comes up a lot in conversation with players is, well, what type of spellcaster are you? Because there are many players who, if they're not causing explosions, think they're not doing magic, or there are some players who don't need necessarily to blow everything up. They just want to provide utility to the group. They don't need to be flashy. They're just going to make sure that the group doesn't starve if you go out on an expedition. Or they want to do control. They don't need to kill everyone. They just need to make sure the battle goes the way they want. Or the face. The face is the social musician. The fight never happens because everyone agrees with me. So we're going to say good old-fashioned nuker. And then you pick your first spell. We're going to go with Firebolt. Then after you create your character, you will have a cast of characters that you've made. I've already made a couple already, but let's go to Melvin that we just went to. What I really wanted to do is demystify what you're good at and what you're not so good at as a spellcaster. So we can see that as is, Melvin has decided he wants to be good at blowing stuff up. And he has, right now, the curve of his magic, nuking is the best at what he's at. So learn more. What else is good? Let's see. Witch Bolt, a very good spell for damage, very versatile. Update. And then what I really want to stress is the constant feedback of, okay, now instead of getting bogged down in the stats and the details, I'm getting a kind of a holistic feel of, okay, as a spellcaster, this is how I'm going to generally tackle my problems. This character, according to this chart, is generally going to tackle his problems by blowing them up. But if we wanted to, we could change tack. We could say, that's a little bit crass. That's a little bit lacking in style. How about I decide I'm the face? I do a lot of social magic. Well, then my chart doesn't match up to what I want to be good at. So I can delete spells as I see fit, and then learn new spells. So we want to be good at social magic. Charm Person is always an easy spell to go with. And so we can see the curve changing a little bit more. And so as you build more and more, you'll begin to get a good feel of what you can expect from the character. Because again, I've run into so many players who just are getting in and are trying to just get a handle on the mechanics and the rules of the game. And then when they actually start playing the characters, they don't quite come out how they expected. And yeah, so if a character ends up a wash or they fail their death saving roll, you can always delete the character. Or you can update the character, add new characters as you see fit. And like most people, most D&D players I know, you'll end up with a roster of characters that you've created. And yeah, that's my app.
All right. Thank you so much, Paul. It's a very unique looking and a unique application for an application. That's awesome. Let's open it up to questions with Adam.
All right, well, thank you. I thought it was a very, very cool looking app. One of my favorite things was seeing how you were able to manipulate the graphs using the different skill sets. I was wondering what technologies did you use for your graphing?
I used a JavaScript library named Chartist. I tweaked it around. That chart went through several different versions where I was like, I want it to be a pie chart. I want it to be a bar chart. And at the very end, I was like, the default line chart is actually more illustrative than anything else. So.
Cool. And what were some other fun technologies you got to use to implement, or you got to implement on this project?
I'm actually just rather happy with the theme I picked. And so the theme took a bit of tweaking to get it to its current look. And at one point I went full D&D aesthetics in that, like the background was like weathered parchment, and like the boxes, I tried to make them look like leather bound books, and it ended up looking very D&D, but it also ended up being rather illegible. So I kind of rolled it back, and it's like, okay, we can make it look vaguely arcane, but we can also make it legible. So.
And what do you have in store for version 2?
Oh, there's a lot I want to add to this. For example, right now the beginning, my database is nowhere near complete, and I want also, and I really wish I had time to implement this, I wanted to give the character class a new object where it had a bio, and as you made your choices, there would be lines of your bio being written into your character's bio, and at the very end on the character show screen, it would have the character name, the level, and all that, but it also have this organic bio that was formed from all your decisions. And also another idea, and I'm kicking myself for not thinking of it. I'll have to give credit to Nate for this. D&D does have a standardized character sheet that's a PDF with editable text, and I'm kicking myself that I didn't think of it first. Once you're done with this process, I would love to be able to just export all the data you've compiled and put them into a D&D character sheet, ready-made in the right spaces, and then you could print it out. So it would be ready for play right from the get-go.
Cool. Well, definitely don't kick yourself, because there's always room to do more features, always. Yeah. It looks cool. It looks like a lot of fun, though. Cool. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Paul and Adam. Let's kick it off to our next presenter, which is Yesenia. And the next panelist will be Emily. So Yesenia, if you can go ahead and share your screen and unmute yourself.
Yep. Hello, good evening, everyone. So I love marketing, and I like the idea of convincing people to buy your products. And I also realize that small businesses usually have a constraint because they have zero to or a very low marketing budget. And I made an app to help the small business owner with a tight marketing budget reach their audience. So let's start by logging in. I'm going to log in with this username that I already saved. And so the name of the app is Email Lino. It helps you connect with your audience via email to promote your brand and increase sales. So I'm scrolling down, and I have two types of products. The first type is a standard email set, and the other type is a custom email. First, let's look at the first product. I'm going to, well, this is cool. As you hover over, you could read, it says, click here to target the top customers in your industry. So I'm clicking there, and so they cost $50 each set costs $50. And when you scroll down, you can see the different industries that I offer, or that Email Lino offers. So there's the bakery email set for people interested in buying that. Let's click into it, and you see this motto pop up. And so these are the names of the companies whose emails I have. And there are a lot of companies in there. I can either buy here or just close out of the motto, which I am going to close, because I I'd rather buy ice cream emails or reach out to ice cream companies. So here are the companies, and I'm going to click on buy, and this takes me to the cart. And again, the companies are listed. I have not provided the emails yet because we haven't purchased them. At this point, I can either delete this email set or check out or continue shopping. I am going to continue shopping because I want to show you my other product. Here it is. If I hover over, click here to request an email for a company you want to target. So I'm clicking there. Oh, by the way, you can also access those page with the nav bar. Peter, will you give me a name to a company, please?
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot. It's really hard to think of one, just like without any warning, Yesenia, but okay. What about Fifth Third Bank?
Okay. Okay, and I'm clicking on create. And I have an email success message. That is great. So in my cart, I have the first product I put, the set. And if I scroll down here, here it is. And at this point, I'm going to check out. And now you checked out, or we checked out, and the total is 51 bucks. That is really cheap. Remember, like Peter says, it's a numbers game. So the more people we could reach, eventually we'll get responders. And then in the bottom here is the email that we just created. If we click into this link, it opens up an email dialog box. So you could just easily, reach your audience from here. Before I finish, I have a secret to tell you about my emails. Before you ask me to give you free emails, I didn't use an email API. Rather, I used a domain API. So I just got the email address from the API, and then I just interpolated or added the contact at, because a lot of emails use this format and I didn't want to pay for emails. Yeah, that is my app, and thank you for watching.
All right, thank you very much, Yesenia. It's a nice, clean looking application. Whoever, designed that and sort of worked with all the centering and all those details. It's just, it obviously has whoever made this app obviously has a clean eye for detail. It must have spent a lot of sleepless nights.
Thank you for helping me center things. It was really difficult.
Anybody who's a developer knows that centering is the hardest thing to do as a developer, back end or front end. So, but very nice job. So let's go ahead and open it up for questions with Emily.
What part of this app are you most proud of, Yesenia?
The API, yeah, I would say that was pretty cool to use. I started messing with it a long time before the Capstone, so just, yeah. Also, I also created a method in which if the API couldn't find the email, then I would just use the company name to create that. So that was like a hacky way of making sure I had successful events for every email entered, just in case. Well, we were supposed to present this live in the beginning with people, so I figured I got a larger audience and I was asked to create more emails, then yeah, that was a hacky way to access that.
That makes sense. Air handling is important. Tell me, what is your favorite new thing that you learned in this process?
Connecting the front end to the back end. Originally, I thought it was just like Squarespace, in which you just dump the information into like a dialog box. So I underestimated this process a lot, and it's like, no, I have to connect every little thing, which works to my advantage because I create the layout that I want instead of a pre-made layout. But yeah, I really enjoyed learning that.
And then I really appreciated this idea for your application because it's very like industry. It's very industry minded. So I'm curious where you got the aspiration or the inspiration to build this.
Yeah, thank you for asking. So my first job after college was at a really small company, and we went to a trade show to like promote a product. And then when we came back from the trade show, my boss was like, I need you to reach out to every person that attended that trade show. And I was like, okay. And he's like, here's a list. I was like, great, we could use MailChimp. And he's like, no, you need to just access them yourself. And I ended up just targeting the specific audience that we really related to and just looking for them on Google or LinkedIn. And then recently my job now also asked me to do something with like emails. So, and actually an API, maybe it was this API. So that's where my inspiration came from.
Well, congratulations. Excellent work. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Yesenia and Emily. Let's kick it off to our next presenter, which will be Steve, and the next panelist will be Jay. So Steve, go ahead and share your screen. Take it away.
All right. So if you've ever been like scrolling through the channels late, like on a Tuesday night and watching like ESPN4 and you're like, oh, why is like it's Central Michigan versus Akron, or it's like a Little League World Series game where it's like Idaho versus Wyoming, and you're like, who is possibly watching this right now? Well, I'll tell you who is watching it. It's like my friends and family. And not only are they watching it, but they also have money on the game. And now once the quarantine kicked in, they have just been like, they've been dying for something to bet on. So that's where I kind of got the inspiration for Weatherbetter. Kind of, it's an app where you can bet on the weather. So the sign up isn't that exciting. So I'll log right into an existing user. So as you can see, our guy Dirk right now, he's on a bit of a losing streak. So right now he's got a bet going on the over for, the line is the forecast of 64 degrees tonight, and he's got the over. So if you've ever played fantasy football, it's one of those things where like on a Sunday, you're updating your screen all the time. So to like kind of satiate that, we've got the 24-hour history where you can kind of go check where the kind of the most recent temps are. So it's not looking good for him right now. The line was 64, and it looks like we're looking at a high of about 57, 58. So he's not sitting really pretty right now. Now, normally the information kind of automatically updates at midnight, and it kind of changes the status there. But since as exciting as it would be to do like a New Year's Eve countdown with that, I just don't think anyone wanted to stay up with me till midnight watching that. So I created a little button here, which is going to pull the most recent temperature to kind of change that. So we'll just update our page. And he lost. He is officially out of money. So he's not really useful to us right now. So we'll log out, we'll sign in with someone else. Now Reed, on the other hand, he is riding high. He just won this bet. He's won his last three. He's like a regular Tom Skilling here. So he's got another bet pending, but when you're riding a hot streak like this, you want to probably place another bet. So you're going to go to all the contests and kind of look, see what's going on. Looking at these temps, these are live forecasts. This 85 Fahrenheit this weekend, I don't think that's going to happen. We've got storms coming all day. That seems a little aggressive. So we're going to go place a bet. It was the 24th or 25th. We're gonna go high. There's no way that's hitting. We're gonna pick the under. Submit. Takes the money right out of his balance, and then he's just got these waiting. So, and that's about it.
All right. Thanks so much, Steve. It's a very interesting application. I love that little footer where, what does it say down there?
Oh, you know, some people, they've got some problems. So we want to reach out, have a gambling problem, get in touch. And also, you know, let us know your favorite game just in case you want some more juice.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, let's open it up to questions with our panelist, Jay.
Yeah, Steve, this is great. And yeah, when people are betting on the weather, they may possibly have a gambling problem. But tell me about where you're getting the weather data from.
So I am pulling the data from a couple of things. So there's one API that's giving us the live forecasts. And then for the history, I'm pulling it from the city of Chicago, and I'm pulling it from a number of, they have a number of like weather sensors all over the up and down the beaches, and it's kind of live updates every hour.
Wow, that's cool. So how is it like working with that API? You like send in, the parameters are like the date and the city, or it's just, since it's all Chicago, it's just you send in the date or something?
Since it's just the city, yeah, I'm just using the city of Chicago. It just kind of goes by the date.
Got it. Do they provide other info besides the temperature? Like that's what you're using here because that's what you're betting on, but what other info do they provide?
Yeah, like this is just kind of like the first implementation. Like when I was first conceptualizing it, I was thinking of just going much larger, but like like what I thought was the minimal viable product and what I actually did was very different. Like when I was first initialized or thinking of it, I was also thinking you could bet like on the high temp, low temp, sunrise, sunset, kind of the whether or not it's going to rain. So there's just a lot of other data that you could pull and make more contests out of further down the line.
I would love to see the ability to bet on the barometric pressure. So
oh yeah, there's that in there too. But if you're betting on that, you might have an issue. Like this is extreme. Barometric pressure is real out there.
This is great. What was the hardest part? Was it working with the API or was it something else?
Honestly, probably, like I said, just like doing this for the first time, just kind of like learning to decompose the project and like conceptualizing it. Like I just started out so big and like so vast that like the first couple of weeks, I like didn't really accomplish anything useful. And I just was like constantly scrapping stuff. So just kind of learning how to start maybe smaller and building out. And it's just like probably the most helpful thing that I learned from this.
Yeah, I guess, is that like the advice you'd give the version of yourself from like 6 weeks ago? Is that what you?
Yeah, for sure. Like I would be like, yeah, maybe you don't have quite the knowledge base to build that all right yet.
No, it's really cool. Can you go ahead to that one of the pages with the tables on it?
Oh, I gotta log in.
It was just really nicely laid out. Yeah, no, it's really clear where everything stands, and I guess when you hit the show temp button, you're calling the API again. Is that right?
Yeah, for the time being, it would just call the temperature again. So like it would just be, and then you guys got to reload it, and so yeah, because It's only at the moment it's only pulling from the most recent temp.
Got it.
For that.
This is really impressive, Steve. Congrats, nice job.
Thanks.
All right, thank you so much, Steve and Jay. And yeah, Jay, if you're going to be betting on barometric temperature, Steve, you're going to have to deploy this application so Jay can fill out that form on the bottom, because it sounds like he's going to need some help.
Yeah, I mean, if I had the bankroll to deploy this, I probably wouldn't be in this class.
All right. So let's move on to our next presenter, which is going to be Tom. And after Tom is going to be Ernesto, and those will be our last two presentations. So it'll be Tom, and the panelist will be Adam. So Tom, go ahead and share your screen.
All right. Well, Adam, I hope you like Dungeons and Dragons, because I made another Dungeons and Dragons app. So to give you a little bit of reason why I made it. So growing up, I used to play Dungeons and Dragons all the time with my friends from high school, and we'd play all the time, and it was a lot of fun. But since then, we've all kind of moved away. We've all stayed in touch and stayed in contact and everything. We like to play whenever we can, but it's kind of tough. We're not always in town at the same time, and but we always like to play. And so I really wanted to make a video conferencing app, like a video chatting app, where it would be more geared towards gamers, towards stuff like D&D, but it could be any kind of RPG you like. Yeah, and so it's a project I wanted to make even before starting the boot camp. I thought it'd be a fun idea. And then since the pandemic and everything, it's kind of even more pertinent to the situation because we can't see anybody, and I still want to play some games. So welcome to my app. This is Conjure, yeah, here's where you can show up. You can log in and hang out with your friends. So I'm going to log in as myself. And what's my password? Cool. So this takes us back to the home page, and any good website should have quotes from Futurama. So that's here. Yeah, so I can take a look at my profile page, and I can see here, here's my name, and these are the rooms that I'm part of. So I've got a couple different games going on right now. But say if I want to join more games, I can come back to see all the current games available. There's actually only 3, so I couldn't make a new one. So if I want to make a new one, I just gotta give it a name. What do we call it? I don't know. Cool game. Why not? And we'll give it a password. You don't need a password if you don't want it. But if you want to keep riffraff out of your room, it can help with that kind of thing. But me and my friends, we're gonna have a game coming up soon, so I figure I'll check out that one. So I'm gonna go to that room, and then it's gonna ask me if I want to allow the camera, and I do because I want to see myself. And here you can see my friends, and there's even a chat log. Now the next part, I want to show that the camera works, and it's gonna freak out. So I'm gonna mute myself. I'll bring up the other screen. You'll see me. I'm gonna chat with myself as well. So you might not hear anything, but I'm doing stuff. So give me a second.
You can tell Tom has really lost his marbles during the quarantine. He's chatting with himself. He's made an app where he can do a video chat with himself. It's crazy. It's crazy talk.
All right, I'm back. So I'm still frozen over there. It's a feature of the app. You can see who left and what they last looked like. It's kind of cool. But you can see a little pop-up came up when I sent a message, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so you can get a whole bunch of people on the game, and say you don't always have some dice on hand, which is kind of frustrating. But I took care of that. So if you need to roll some dice, you can simply come over here, and you can pick whatever kind of dice you want. And you know what? They'll even roll for you. And if you want to roll again, it's kind of cool. So if you just click, it'll bring up the menu again. So I can throw it again. Or if I click and hold, it'll toss it across the screen. I'll toss it across the screen any direction that I tell it to, which is pretty cool. And say I just really want to roll a whole bunch of D20s. There we go. So yeah. And what else? Yeah, that's basically my app. There's a lot more features I want to add to it. But I figure, Adam, if you have any questions, it's here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tom. Yeah, it's really interesting how there's 2 D&D apps, but they're so totally different in terms of scope. It's like you guys could both deploy your applications that they can work actually with each other. It's pretty cool.
Actually, that would be cool.
Yeah, let's open it up to Adam for some questions. I think you're muted, Adam.
Oh no.
That is correct. I am muted.
It's all good.
All right. So it looks like you did a very good job with your app. Very good job. I'm wondering, what did you learn from doing this application that you didn't necessarily get in the cohort?
I mean, I learned a lot about. So what I used to pull up the video and everything is what's called Webrtc, and that's pretty cool. I learned a lot about that. So the cool thing about it is that it actually like creates like a network between two computers, and they directly communicate with each other. So I think that's pretty neat. Like normally you need a server to send information back and forth, but it actually directly hooks up two computers, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, I learned a lot about just kind of the way that I go about tackling different problems and situations. And I also learned, I mean, people have said this before, but I learned a lot about CSS. It's some complicated stuff, and you know, it's not for the faint of heart.
What do you have in mind for version 2 for it?
So speaking of Webrtc, they've got a bunch of stuff. Like one I was particularly interested in was they have virtual whiteboards. I thought that'd be a really cool thing you could implement, where you could actually have a screen where everyone could draw or write messages on. Like you could actually draw a map, and you could actually have everybody interact with it and kind of move potentially a token around that shows where the character is, or you know, all kinds of stuff like that. So I think a virtual whiteboard would be really cool. Also, considering that this is kind of an app where people be getting together, I thought a calendar aspect would be really cool, where you could sign up and say when a game is being held, and like have alerts, that kind of thing. And like all kinds of, you know, random generating APIs and that kind of stuff I thought would be really cool. And yeah.
Cool. And then tell me, one of my favorite parts about this was the 3D dice. What
Yeah.
did you use for the 3D dice?
So I actually found a library. Well, originally I I wanted to make the dice. So I actually dug into 3JS and tried messing with it, and I got a cube that would spin, and that was pretty cool. But I realized it was going to be a lot to get actual mechanics working properly. So I did some digging, and I found a really cool library that I really liked a lot. And it actually also uses 3JS and I think Canon, I think is what it used for the physics of the dice, Canon.js. So I thought it was really cool. So it's something I want to dive more into. And it's all open source. So I'm really looking forward to looking into that.
Cool. Well, it looks like you did a very good job.
Cool. Well, thank you. Yeah, I had a fun time.
All right. Thank you so much, Tom and Adam. And now we're on to our last presenter. Last but not least is Ernesto, and the panelist will be Emily. So Ernesto, if you can go ahead and share your screen.
All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Ernesto. This is my Capstone presentation. Before I get started, I just want to talk about why I built this app in the first place. I love to play soccer, but I don't play competitively anymore. Can't commit to a fixed game schedule or pay for, you know, an expensive rec league here in the city. When I moved to Chicago about 5 years ago, I realized that almost everybody here pays to play. So, you know, Meetup was not an option for me. I was paying for every single pickup game. Same with leagues. Other soccer apps that I found too were all about private soccer games. So, you know, I was not really able to attend that many. So I thought to myself, how can I tap into the soccer community here and, you know, attend pickup games that are public or schedule my own and keep track of it all? And so that's how that's why I came up with this soccer app that is designed for soccer players who want to play recreationally and on a semi-regular basis. I built the app on a Ruby on Rails backend framework and front-end framework Vue.js, which really it was due to familiarity and maintainability. That's really what won the day for me. And so you could see this was also built using a Bootstrap theme that was very mobile friendly. I really wanted it to be that way because I knew that if I was going to use this app, I'd probably be on my phone most of the time using it. So this is kind of neat. It's got this little scroll bar here up in the nav bar, and you can see all the games. You can sign up or log in. So I'm going to go ahead and log in at this point. If you are not signed up, but you're new to this app, you're going to be drawn to this little link up here, and you're going to say, oh, cool, let me check out the games here. But right away, you're greeted by a friendly HTTP status cat letting you know you're not authorized yet to view all the features. You got to sign up or log in to access all the features. Sign up page is pretty straightforward, but I've already got an account, so I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And once you do, you have access to all the full features of the app. You get this fun little spinning icon here that I borrowed from, it was a library called Bounce.js that kind of lets you play around with different custom CSS animations on different icons. So that was really fun to play with. I've got this app, this map, that I put together, integrating it with Mapbox API. It kind of boilerplate is really, really basic. It doesn't have all these other features, but I wanted something that would keep players on the app. And so here you've got the different soccer fields that are part of this app. If you click any 2 points in the app, you get driving directions, walking directions, or cycling directions, depending on how you get around. If you want to track your location, you can go ahead and do that here too, which is pretty fun, pretty user-friendly, so you can navigate to your destination. So as you scroll down, you get to see the current weather in Chicago. This information was pulled from, I think the API is called Eris Weather API. I didn't have a fancy widget or anything, so I just used this custom CSS that I put together so that it could give you that relevant information in case, I'm like thinking to myself, I kind of want to go out and play. Obviously it's a little late now, but on another day with this kind of weather, cloudy and 54 degrees, I'd probably still play some soccer. So yeah, like I said earlier, I'd probably spend my time on my phone using this app. And so that was really important for me. And I'm a serial scroller, so I'd probably spend a ton of time, scrolling through these just to see what games are available. Here, they're all sorted by date, so you can see the next one. But if you want to be more efficient, you can always go and use this little search bar. You can search by keyword, and for example, you can look up what games are happening in May, just one. What games are happening in my area code, 2, cool. And you can check out your games that you are attending on this page. And that lets you see all the different games. Again, you've got this little search bar so you can check out what games you're attending. And I kind of want to attend a game in May. So in this month, let's do it. They say it's safe to be out there, maybe playing outdoors more than anything, than being indoors. I don't know. We'll give it a shot. Let's see what games are going on in May. Cool. Potawatomi Park, perfect. This is right near me. So if you can see the current number of people attending, if you click more info, you can also see the players that are attending. You've got, I think Peter's showing up to that. Megan Rapino, she's pretty cool. All right, cool. Yeah, let's sign up for this game. When you do, your name pops up in the list. There I am. If you decide to cancel your attendance, your name is removed from the list. Again, let's go ahead and attend that. I want to show up to that. And this, you can create your own game too if there aren't any games happening in your area. It's pretty simple. You can choose from the fields that are already part of the database put together. And then this last piece is only for admins. And so you could create a field, and this one's going to be a nod to Mark, who's one of our TAs, and he's a big Liverpool fan. So I'm going to just put this in here. And this is actually a big reason why I don't want all the users to have access to this particular feature yet. I'm going to have to work on it. And here you create your field. This is Anfield, by the way. Liverpool plays here, and Mark's a big fan of that field. and this team. So once it's added, there you go, you're notified. You can go ahead, create the game on that field. And I'm gonna say, let's just go play. Let's go play tomorrow. You know, it's in the UK, no big deal. We can make it. And once you do, your game pops up down here in the listings. And there it is, Anfield. And additionally, it's now posted to the map here. So you can see it. I'm gonna have to do a giant zoom out so you can actually see it. And there we go. Anfield. I had a lot of fun playing with this app, putting it together. I think the biggest challenge was playing around with APIs. This last one I used, it's called Cloudinary, so that I could store images to a cloud database to help my app run a little smoother. Excuse me, that was for the new field. And honestly, the hardest part was dealing with the asynchronous nature of JavaScript. And that's something that Peter really did a great job of explaining, and just something that, you know, I'm trying to get better and better at as time goes on. And I guess for additional features for version 2, I would love to be able to see, you know, based on games I'm attending or list of players, if you're friends with somebody, I would love to be able to click on that person's name, say like Megan Rapinoe, and be like, I'm kind of friends with her. Not really, but you know, let's say we're friends, whatever. You click on her and you'd be able to see what games she's playing. But I was pretty intentional about this. I wanted to gear it towards somebody who's kind of a newcomer, or at least doesn't have that community that they've tapped into already, and they're trying to just get themselves out there and play some public pickup games. So I was pretty intentional about that, but I think for a future iteration, I would love to include that. I think the way I'd go about it is maybe creating like a friends model, and creating some associations based on that. And if you're friends with somebody, then you'd be able to see the games that they're attending. But if they're not friends, you know, you wouldn't be able to, just to kind of protect players in that way. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it open to any questions at this point, if you have any.
All right, awesome job, Ernesto. You run, looks like you're running, you know, you're saying this is a game for beginners, but some of those people in that list, they don't look like beginners to me. They look like ringers. I don't know if
they're like, I mean, they're not playing right now, so you know, I gotta
get into a pickup game. Yeah.
They're desperate, but they're cool.
The other thing I'd love to see is the driving directions from Chicago to London, and see exactly how long.
Actually, I could do that for you right now. You'd see that actually maxes out at a certain point. It's pretty great. So let's just pick anywhere in Chicago, and let's type in Anfield here. I feel like it would show up. Here we go. If you pick on something like walking, it's going to say route exceeds maximum distance limitations. So, you know, I mean, like, at least it's telling you the truth. It's not lying to you. So that's
right,
fun.
Right. No, I mean, that means you have a lot of opportunities for version 2, where you can add swimming directions, all sorts of things, you know.
Yeah. Redirect to, you know, like an air flight or something. But yeah, definitely. And this is a big reason why I wouldn't want just anybody having access to the creative field, add a field. Although I think I might take an open source approach and leave it to the community to like contribute fields in Chicago that they love and know and visited, so that we could, you know, filter from there the ones that have valid addresses and stuff like that. So
yeah, awesome. Yeah, let's open it up to questions with Emily.
Great job, Ernesto. Sign me up to play pickup soccer with Megan Rapinoe.
Yeah, it's co-ed.
I'm curious, which was your favorite API to integrate with, and what did you enjoy about that process?
Well, you saw the fun that Peter and I were having with this Mapbox API just now. That was definitely a big part of it. And especially, it was probably the biggest and last portion of the project that I put together with Peter's help. And I sought out some of my colleagues too that had done this for their app. And so, you know, I tried to kind of get as much information as I could about how to integrate my backend with the Mapbox API itself. So that was probably the most fun for me, but definitely the most challenging as well.
Great. Tell me, what did you like? you told us about some of the features that you were building. I'm curious, or that you'd like to build. I'm curious if you did another app, like what learnings would you take from this one into the next thing you build?
Yeah, so the one thing I wanted to do with this app idea was to create a Vue native app or use a cross-platform like Cordova. And I explored and I found a really quick tutorial on Flutter, using Flutter to create a mobile app. I would love to be able to bring this to a mobile app version of itself. Although it's very friendly and everything, I just think it would be a fun, kind of exercise, at least for me, to challenge myself and kind of broaden my tech stack, or at least challenge myself in a big way.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and this would be a perfect app for that. So, well, wonderful job. Thanks for presenting. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ernesto. So that was actually the last presentation from this group. So I'm going to go ahead and stop Ernesto's screen share, although everybody's mesmerized by that ball. Yeah, so I just wanted to take the time right now. We'll wrap things up, but I wanted to take the time to thank all of the student presenters. You guys did an amazing job, and I'll reiterate the fact that these were very difficult times in which to develop a project. It's also really good to have something to sink into. You know what I mean? When you have nothing to do but stay at home and you have the power of the internet. So you guys really dug into it, and I would say it was. You had a lot of challenges in front of you just with the timing of the cohort, but you guys really powered through it. Nobody even complained about, the transition to the online model. You guys were like so positive. And to see the amazing applications that you made under these situations is fantastic for both this group and the previous group. So I just wanted to, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It was a lot of fun working with everybody, and it was really amazing to see the results of all your hard work. Also wanted to thank the panelists for taking their time to be here and have good conversations with all of our developers. So Adam and Emily and Jay, thank you so much for spending the time with us. Yeah, and as in the previous group, I also wanted to thank the teaching assistants from this class, Mark, Ashley, Russell, and Jennifer. You guys did an amazing job helping the students through all of their different issues and giving them a shoulder to cry on when they were complaining about their lead instructor, things like that. Also wanted to thank our career counselor, Lisa, who's here to watch all the presentations, and she's going to be working with everybody. So this class is definitely not over. So we're going to conclude this live stream. If all the students can stick around in the Zoom chat for a minute, we'll wrap up the live stream and we'll see you all next time.